So welcome all of them. Kevin, you want to take it on this?
Terrific. Hey, thanks, Epiphany. So nice and tight in here. Nobody smoke, nobody light a match. Be able to get up. This matter of some of the things that we have here today. We'll have 4 readers and a special ending surprise. The issue celebrates Bunny Lang, but we dedicate the issue to Bill Berkson. Bill Berkson is passed away right in the middle of this issue, and when I was starting to write to folks and ask them if they would contribute something for the Bunny Lang feature, I wrote to Charles Moore. We also have epigrams from Callimachus, translated from the Latin by Peter Valente, who lives in Brooklyn. We're going to hear from Marc Vincenz, a poet in his own right and translator, who, I hope I'm going to pronounce it right, who did translations of the Swiss poet Alexander Zabergorder.
That works.
That works. Okay, thanks a lot. And Keith Waldrop translated something called Tibetan Grammar from a French poet named Benedictine Vilgré. And we have a selection of new Romanian poetry, youth poetry or young poets from Romania, edited by Ben Mazer and Dan spoKe, if I'm pronouncing his name right. A whole bunch of poems from a number of different folks. Some of whom are in the room. John Ryan is in the room. Gail Batchelder is in the room, right in front of me. We have a poem by Ron Padgett, which he gave us before the movie. Maybe after the movie he changed his email. He wouldn't have done that. But this also came. Charles introduced me to Ron, and Doug Holder is here. Published a poem by him. Meg Tyler from Boston University. And Marcia Karp has a number of translations of Samuel Beckett in this issue. Who else did I miss? Is Krista here? No? And Len Krisak, who was in our second issue. He did a whole bunch of translations of Catullus in our second issue, in our second one. He has Anna Akhmatova for this one. I'll later tell you about what we have from V.R. Lang. So we thought we'd start with a little bit of a tribute to Bill Berkson. And at the same time that I was talking to Bill about some poems and about this, he was also corresponding with Ruth Lepson. Ruth is a poet in residence at New England Conservatory, and ended up having an incredible correspondence with him right before his death. And so I asked her to talk about that experience, talk about him a little bit, and read some of his memoirs. So please help me in welcoming Ruth to start us out.
Well, I don't know how the hell Kevin does it, since he's an international economist and he's raising a family, but he manages to put out these very rich issues. So, he was writing about this because it was one of his favorite paintings in a river. His crown is the only hyper-realist thing in the painting. I suspect it was added by assistants after Titian's death to make the picture more valuable. What was the commission? Why paint this? One interesting notion is that it's a reversal of a Venetian horror wherein the commander of the fleet was captured by the Turks at Famagusta and skinned alive. The Turks were later defeated at Lepanto. Titian may have been making a revenge picture. Do you have Karenes, god of the Greeks? He has an interesting chapter on the satyrs, and Marsyas figures briefly there. Also on Apollo's lyre. There's also stuff on the story in Pliny the Elder, Plato, and elsewhere. I've been wild about this painting in reproduction only for about 20 years, so the chance to see the real thing was a blessing.
Before, we're a global magazine. This issue has lots of translations from the French, lots of translations from the Swiss, and from the Russian. And please come join us. I guess they want you to be over there. I'll steal your seat.
Sure.
Thank you, Marc Vincenz.
Thank you. It's called How to Marry a Millionaire. His mother always says, if you can't marry a boy from the village, have your sights set high in the stratosphere. If you live far away, too far away to come home, at least you can fly in your money. I don't care if any husband-to-be has a head like an overcooked dumpling. He needs to pamper me, says Suji. In 3 grueling years, she's gone from assembly line worker to office clerk. Evenings, her bangs pinned in Swarovski barrettes. She swats flies and learns executive English. She's taken crash courses on how to hold a fork and a knife, how to pucker and smile, how to make the most of eyelashes. Last holiday, her dear mother didn't recognize her in among the city folk getting off the train. You can tell by her shoes she's no country girl. And can you imagine walking home in the muddy fields with those heels? She sings as her number is called on the megaphone. Lady recruitment officer asks if her book is a good one. Suji nods firmly. You know what it's like working at a plastic injection molding machine. It never spits out form until you've twiddled all the right buttons. Suji's learning is paying off. She's been hired again, assistant sales manager for Silk Dragon mobile phones. Years later, I run into Suji in an all-expense cruise trip to Iceland. We're here to see the aurora borealis, the flickering of the sun's mood swings, playing with Earth's emotions high upon the stratosphere. She's wearing a sticker which reads, "Happy to meet you. I'm Mrs. Dolly Wu." And she's decked out in ermine and mink. Suji has a new nose and her hair is cut short. But I know it's her. Leaning against the railing, I ask her if she's married a millionaire. But she turns to face the cold ocean as someone shouts, "Kill a whale!" and pretends not to know.
Thank you, Kevin. Nice. I'm thrilled to introduce Sue Standing.
Thanks. I was very pleased to be asked to contribute to this issue, and it was very interesting. The first one I'm going to read is called Territory Master of Kabistani. And the Master of Kabistani was a 12th century medieval sculptor who worked in a band from Catalonia through the south of France and into Tuscany. How did you begin? An angel dragged me by the hair of my head like Habakkuk. What took you from one place to another? The devil's wind, the Otan, didn't let me sleep for 9 days. What did you say your name was? A line of ink on my hand. How can I find you? Speak to me in a language I can understand. This one is called Twins. The left-hand twin sits on the right. The right-hand twin sits on the left. When they write with their identical yellow pencils, the left-hand twin's eraser is more worn down. Their elbows bump into each other. They don't seem to mind. Their socks are on their last legs. Their rugby shirts have suffered too many scrums. Their cowlicks whirl in different directions. The right-hand twin was born second, but he whispers in the left-hand twin's left ear to tell him what he needs to do.
We're really excited to unveil some unpublished work and some essays about Boston, Cambridge's own VR, Bunny Lane. We're really excited about that. There were a bunch of folks who wrote about her, and and unveiled this color painting, a portrait of Bunny Lang. But I'm going to shut up there and leave the discussion of Bunny Lang to Alison.
I discovered in the archive when I was looking into this stuff this summer is that there is a huge volume of material that doesn't make it into her collected poems that have been published, that maybe is difficult to present. So anyway, I'll read a few of these things, and in lieu of introducing Bunny Lang any further, this is a poem which is in the Random House poems. You kill me. You kill me. Yes, you do. I know no one else who'd buy a sparrow. I didn't even know they sold sparrows. Just to feed it watermelon, and in public, too. Every afternoon I think of you, out there, flushed and fair, scraping the exhausted rind with a spoon. Every day, all winter.
Lang's sister-in-law, and really helped help us find a lot of this stuff, and we're really lucky to have her. In addition to some of the unpublished poetry and plays, I just want to point out there's an introduction to Bunny Lang by Susan Howe in this issue, and Bill Corbett was mentioned earlier today. He wrote an essay on Bunny Lang, and interestingly, to just circle all this stuff, so Bill Corbett and Fannie Howe, who we published in the first issue, had a magazine here called Fire Exit. What, in the 1970s?
Yeah.
1970s.
And
Here,
80s, I think.
and 80s here in Boston. Andrew.
Terrible. So our last reader is Sarah Rivera, who was in the BU Fellowship, Robert Pinsky's Fellowship program before me. If you want to, however many you want, and close us out, Sarah Rivera.
Thank you so much, Karina, for inviting me to submit. This has been really exciting to be part of this issue. And then I have a very short poem from the issue. So this is Scintillate. A branch coming up out of water. You were the leaf, discolored, fallen and then held aloft and flat, that delicate. You walked down and I walked, an echo, and we can never keep still in the frigid air. We can never keep warm enough. A bird landed hard on a stacked limb above us. You, discolored in the plain that split the horizon. You saw golden light broken into two arenas. You said I could squint through the branches and the light would scintillate. Your word, too big, barely hollow enough to pass through water. You named it in the end, a beautiful breakage, an exposed bright hole. And this last poem is about, I guess, being honest with yourself about what kind of kid you were. So this is a poem for a scorpion child. Begin. A memory from before you can remember much. The kind recounted to you so often you've constructed it for yourself. A woman came to the door. You answered behind your father's legs. She wanted to sell your house, and you cried and cried until she left. Admit it, you were the child who cried too much. You lacked a layer. You wanted to be a scorpion, but you weren't a scorpion. You were whatever a scorpion protects, soft interiors. Thank you.
I just wanted to, again, thank you and thank the spirit, director for the spirit of this production. You know, this sense of the contemporaneity of all ages, you know, and the need for us to avoid the tragedy of partial enterprises. But sometimes we get ensconced in a little hole, and the world out there is shredded out. So the three goals you mentioned at the beginning, what spoKe is trying to do, Marc Vincenz in his own in Asia and Europe and here, and then Ruth, and then Sue in the Zimbabwean thing. So this is the kind of poetry that we want to really see, because we all get diminished unless the work we do takes on that dimension. A little poet in Nebraska, you can write all your life, but if that is the audience and the world, when that world goes, your poetry goes. So the need, again, for us to avoid the tragedy of partial enterprises. Okay, you don't have to embrace the whole world, but when you do it, you got to think about that like a world. So I can't thank you enough for the spirit that you've shown, the people that have helped to get this thing going. It was been very beautiful, beautiful, isn't it? The spirit is good.